going. My name is David Haig, and on December 18th, 2017, I was tased 10 times for trying to present physical evidence of serious criminal conduct by government officials. Since I was prevented from showing the proof in court, I'm going to try to do so here. Issue number 2 that I tried to present was during my trial judge, Judge Margaret Murphy, was being chauffeured by the main witness against me, Trooper Brett Gibbens. During my trial, evidence ended up missing out of the official court record. Trooper Gibbens committed perjury, and the judge didn't do anything about it. He admitted it was perjury, and still nothing was done. We'd asked my trial attorney at the time, Arthur Robinson, what we could do about them riding around together, and he said nothing. But after I was convicted, we realized that that was wrong, and that was probably why my evidence ended up missing and why nothing was done about perjury during my trial. I filed a complaint with the Commission on Judicial Conduct, and it was supposedly investigated by Marla Greenstein. During her investigation, Ms. Greenstein asked for witnesses to the chauffeuring. I provided her 4 witnesses. She ended up dismissing her investigation by saying she had contacted all the witnesses and none of them had seen the chauffeuring. I then filed for post-conviction relief, and Judge Murphy was put in control of my post-conviction relief. I filed a complaint that she shouldn't be able to do that because I was complaining about her actions during my trial. This issue was then reviewed by Superior Court Judge Stephanie Joannides. Judge Joannides asked me to provide any evidence that Judge Murphy, who is my trial judge, could not now also be the judge of my post-conviction relief. We ended up going back to all the same witnesses. We had provided investigator Marla Greenstein. And I asked all the witnesses, I'm like, I know you told Marla Greenstein that you'd never seen the chauffeuring, but now I am trying to prove that Judge Murphy can't be in control of my post-conviction relief. Anyway, every witness said that Marla Greenstein had never contacted them, and they all remember personally witnessing Judge Murphy being chauffeured by Trooper Gibbens during my trial and sentencing. And so, Jackie, do you want to pull the camera off, come over, and I'll show you the document? Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, this is recorded as received by the Alaska Commission on Judicial Conduct, April 24, 2006. It's in regard to Judge Margaret Murphy complaint, and I provided this to her. I gave her the names of Tony Zellers, Tom Stepnoski, Drew Hildebrand, and Wendell Jones. This is a document by Stephanie Joannides about the recordings that I'd made of Marla Greenstein stating that she had contacted my witnesses. In support of his concerns that Judge Murphy and Trooper Gibbens did not provide the Commission accurate information about this issue, and 2, the Commission did not adequately investigate their failure to provide full disclosure, Mr. Haig submitted various witness affidavits and a recording of 2 phone conversations between himself and Commission Executive Director Marla Greenstein. And here in the below it says affidavit of former Alaska State Trooper Wendell Jones, affidavit of retired Air Force Captain Tony Zellers, affidavit of Tom Stepnoski, and affidavit of Drew Hildebrand. And if you look, those are the same exact people that are listed here. In the footnotes on this page, Judge Joannides states, Mr. Haig provided both a digital recording of and a substantially accurate transcript of the phone conversations. The transcripts are attached as attachments A and B, with Chambers Law Clerk's notations regarding minor discrepancies between the audio file and the transcript. Third, Mr. Higgs claims that Mrs. Greenstein stated that she talked to the people that Mr. Higg identified in a list he provided to the commission. That's this list. Mr. Higg claims he provided a list of 4 people and that the affidavits of these 4 individuals state they were not contacted regarding this matter. And here's date done this 27th day of August 2010 at Anchorage, Alaska. Stephanie Joanides, Superior Court Judge. This is the transcribed phone call between the Alaska Commission on Judicial Conduct, Marla Greenstein, and David Higg on or about January 12, 2007. And this is one of the transcriptions certified by Judge Joanides. I say, hey, I was wondering whatever became of the investigation into Judge Murphy. Greenstein says, blah, blah, blah. The rides were provided by somebody else, not Trooper Gibbons. I say they said the rides were provided by somebody other. Greenstein says yes. Higgs, I say Trooper Gibbons. She says yes. I say, well, that's the biggest pile of shit I've ever heard in my life. Greenstein, that's what everyone I interviewed said. And I ask her, who did you interview? May I ask? Greenstein, well, in addition to the names you gave me, I talked to Trooper Gibbons and the judge, and there was one other law enforcement person there. Greenstein, she says, no, and it's not that serious a thing anyway, even if it did happen, which we don't have any evidence that it did. I say she was changing her decisions 180 degrees to accommodate Trooper Gibbons, and that was she eliminated things that would have proved my innocence or proved I could not be charged as a big game guide, which would take away my career. I say, can I have a copy of Trooper Gibbons saying he never gave Judge Murphy a ride ever? Greenstein says he didn't say never ever. It was during that week when you were down there. So I say during the week when we were down there, he never gave her a ride. Greenstein, no. And I say, okay, and the judge said also? Greenstein, uh-huh, or mm-hmm. I asked Miss Greenstein, how long have you been in your post? Since 1989. She says, I'm the staff investigator, yes. I says, are there any other investigators? Miss Greenstein, no. I asked my wife, Jackie, to come to the phone. She says, I say, Jackie, come here. I want you to tell this lady that under penalty of perjury, you are going to tell her how many times Trooper Gibbons drove Judge Murphy back and forth to the courthouse during my trial and sentencing. Greenstein says, I have your wife's statement in writing. I have your wife's statement in writing. She doesn't need to tell me. Jackie says, hello. Hi, I have your statement in writing. That's fine. Jackie says, okay. You don't need to tell me again because I have your letter that you faxed us. Okay, well, we did see her every single time, you know, she was out of court and riding around to go to the store to get her pop and whatever, and he was the one driving her everywhere, back and forth from the hotel to eat. Greenstein says, well, both he and the judge say they weren't the people doing it. Jackie says, well, Dave's pretty upset because they're both lying, and you know there were everybody else that was there with us saw it too, and they were all, you know, and all the jurors, so I don't know what to tell you. Jackie says, you probably need to ask some more people besides those two. Greenstein says, no, I talked to the people that your husband gave me the list of. Tony Zellers, Tom Stepnowski, Drew Hildebrand, Wendell Jones. I spoke to them as well. And what did they tell you? They say that they did see a trooper giving her rides, but they couldn't identify who the trooper was. I say, okay, now this is the real question. Why do you think Trooper Gibbons and Judge Murphy lied? Greenstein, I don't believe they lied. I tell Marla Greenstein, and you had called and said the trooper and the judge denied that any rides ever took place. Is that correct? She says, no, until after sentencing. Okay, and after sentencing, right. I say, I have a problem. I was there with, I believe, 7 witnesses, an attorney, and she says, I talked to everybody. I talked to the attorneys. I talked to everybody. Here, I say the judge lied to you and the trooper lied to you, and if I were you, I would take that very seriously. And apparently from what you're saying, everybody agrees in fact. You said no witnesses said it ever happened. Didn't I tell you it happened? Greenstein, no, you did, but nobody else. Haig, nobody else told you it happened. Greenstein, right. Here are the affidavits from Tony Zellers. Tony Zellers, received by the commission. My name is Tony Zellers, and I'm a retired Air Force captain. I was a state witness at David Haig's trial in McGrath on 7/28/05. I also attended the sentencing in McGrath on 9/29/05 and 9/30/05. On these days, I was present at the courthouse while David Haig's court was in session. On 7/28/05 and 9/29/05, I personally observed Judge Margaret Murphy being shuttled in a white trooper pickup driven by Trooper Brett Gibbens, leave and return with Trooper Brett Gibbens in the same truck during breaks, lunch, and dinner, and leave with Trooper Gibbens when court was finished for the day. Nearly all the rides I witnessed Trooper Gibbens give Judge Murphy happened before David Haig was sentenced. Trooper Gibbens was the primary witness against David Haig at trial and sentencing. During David Haig's proceedings, I never saw Judge Murphy arrive or depart the courthouse alone or with anyone other than Trooper Gibbens. Other than David Haig himself, I was never contacted by anyone investigating whether or not Trooper Gibbens gave Judge Murphy rides. Affidavit sworn to under penalty of perjury. I, Tony Zellers, swear under penalty of perjury that the statements above and information included are true to the best of my knowledge. Tony Zellers, subscribed and sworn before me on this 21st day of July 2010. Affidavit of Wendell Jones. He's right here. My name is Wendell Jones, and I'm a former Alaska State Trooper. I attended David Haig's sentencing in McGrath on 9/29/05 and 9/30/05. On these days, I was present at the courthouse every hour David Haig's court was in session. On 9/29/05, I personally observed Judge Margaret Murphy arrive at court in a white trooper pickup truck driven by Brett Gibbens, leave and return with Trooper Gibbens in the same truck during breaks and dinner, and leave with Trooper Gibbens when court finished on 9/30/05. Nearly all the rides I witnessed Trooper Gibbens giving Judge Murphy happened before David Haig was sentenced. Trooper Gibbens was the primary witness against David Haig at sentencing, and I believe during his trial. During David Haig's proceedings, I never saw Judge Murphy arrive or depart the courthouse alone or with anyone other than Trooper Gibbens. Other than David Haig himself, I was never contacted by anyone investigating whether or not Trooper Gibbens gave Judge Murphy rides. Affidavit sworn to under penalty of perjury. I, Wendell Jones, swear under penalty of perjury that the statements above and information included are true to the best of my knowledge. Wendell Jones, subscribed and sworn to me this 26th day of July 2010. Wendell Jones. Affidavit of Tom Stepnoski. Here's Tom Stepnoski. My name is Tom Stepnoski, and I'm a retired Vietnam veteran. I attended David Haig's sentencing in McGrath on 9/29/05 and 9/30/05. On these days, I was present at the courthouse every hour of David Haig's court was in session. On 9/29/05, I personally observed Judge Margaret Murphy arrive at court in a white trooper pickup truck driven by Trooper Brett Gibbens, leave and return with Trooper Gibbens in the same truck during breaks and dinner, then leave with Trooper Gibbens when sentencing was finished on 9/30/05. Nearly all the rides I witnessed Trooper Gibbens give Judge Murphy happened before David Haig was sentenced. Trooper Gibbens was the primary witness against David Haig at sentencing, and I believe during his trial. During David Haig's proceedings, I never saw Judge Murphy arrive or depart the courthouse alone or with anyone other than Trooper Gibbens. Other than David Haig himself, I was never contacted by anyone investigating whether or not Trooper Gibbens gave Judge Murphy rides. Affidavit sworn to under penalty of perjury. I, Tom Stepnoski, Sr., swear under penalty of perjury that the statements above and information included are true to the best of my knowledge. Thomas Stepnoski, subscribed and sworn to me before me on this 16th day of July. Affidavit, Drew Hildebrand. Drew Hildebrand. I attended David Haig's sentencing in McGrath on 9/29/05 and 9/30/05. On these days, I was present at the courthouse every hour of David Haig's court was in session. On 9/29/05, I personally observed Judge Margaret Murphy arrive at court in a white trooper truck driven by Trooper Brett Gibbens, leave and return with Trooper Gibbens in the same truck during breaks and dinner, leave with Trooper Gibbens when court was finished on 9/30/05. Nearly all the rides I witnessed Trooper Gibbens give Judge Murphy happened before David Haig was sentenced. Trooper Gibbens was the primary witness against David Haig at sentencing, and I believe during his trial. During David Haig's proceedings, I never saw Judge Murphy arrive or depart the courthouse alone or with anyone other than Trooper Gibbens. Other than David Haig himself, I have never been contacted by anyone investigating whether or not Trooper Gibbens gave Judge Murphy rides. Affidavit sworn to under penalty of perjury. I declare under penalty of perjury the foregoing is true and correct. Executed on July 19, 2010. A notary public or other official empowered to administer oaths is unavailable unless I am certifying this document in accordance with AS 0963.020. This is a Judge Joine's March 25, 2011 order. In it, she states, I granted Mr. Haig's request to disqualify Judge Murphy from post-conviction relief case because I found that, at a minimum, there was an appearance of impropriety. Done this 25th day of March 2011, signed Stephanie Joinides, and she referred the affidavits and everything to a great number of people. Judge Bauman, all the members of the Alaska Commission on Judicial Conduct, Alaska Bar Counsel Louise Driscoll, Assistant Ombudsman Kate Higgins, Marla Greenstein, Peter Mawson, who is now a Alaska Supreme Court Justice, Andrew Peterson, Office of Special Prosecutions. Original order sent to the Kenai Court to be placed in the file. Here I filed a complaint against Marla Greenstein for falsifying an official investigation of Judge Margaret Murphy. This is Marla Greenstein's certified response to my complaint. Marla Greenstein, received by Alaska Bar Association on January 2011, I guess January 24th. As Executive Director for the Commission, I am the investigator of all complaints. It is within my discretion, as guided by the Commission, how extensive an investigation to undertake. While I often conduct interviews as part of an investigation, I do not always interview every individual as suggested by the complainant. In Mr. Haig's matter, I interviewed Mr. Haig's attorney, Arthur Robinson. Mr. Robinson is not on here, okay? But she does say Tony Zellers, right here. Tom Stepnoski, right here. Trooper Gibbens and the subject judge. Here's Marla Greenstein. Sincerely, I hope this letter constitutes a true and correct statement of the facts to my best knowledge and belief. Marla Greenstein, Alaska Bar number 970848. Remember, Ms. Greenstein in the phone conference stated that she had my wife's letter as well. We asked for confirmation of that letter was in the file. A Tracy Moran, an administrative assistant with the Alaska Commission on Judicial Conduct, said, as requested by your phone call, I'm writing this letter to inform you that I have not been successful in finding a letter from your wife in the Commission's files. Because I have not been able to recover a letter, I am unable to confirm that the Commission received this letter at any time. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause you. In other words, all evidence has been removed out of the court record of the Commission's investigation of Judge Murphy. We deposed Chuck Robinson. Remember, that was one person that Marla Greenstein had included in addition to the witnesses I provided. So right here, Arthur Robinson in her, so I never provided her. So we contacted Arthur Robinson and deposed him. Here's deposition of Arthur Robinson, September 9, 2011. The witness is Mr. Robinson being deposed on behalf of the state. I don't believe there are any stipulations between the parties, and I need to administer an oath to you, sir. If you would raise your right hand. Oath administered. Arthur Robinson, I do. Arthur S. Robinson, called as a witness, testified as follows. All right, this is a question for him. You indicated you had a conversation maybe with, since your attorney-client relationship with Mr. Haig ended on this case, you just previously indicated you may have had one conversation about an affidavit with him. I had a conversation with David earlier this year. I was in Washington, D.C. after the death of my mother. David didn't know about that, but anyway, he called me on my cell phone. I called him back, and he wanted to know if I'd ever talked to someone from the state of Alaska about this issue of Judge Murphy and Trooper Gibbens riding together in a car, and I said, I don't know. Nobody's ever come to me and talked with me or called me or anything else to talk about that. And then he told me that I believe it was a woman, but I don't remember her name, but an attorney for the state had said that they had contacted me and talked to me about it, and I told them that didn't happen. But that's the only contact, not social, about this case. I haven't had any personal contact with David Haig with this case except for one time when we talked in February. So anyway, one last thing is here's the affidavit of Judge Margaret Murphy after this started coming up. Judge Murphy, the ride back to my hotel, the sentencing hearing, was the one and only time Trooper Gibbons ever chauffeured me anywhere during the Haig trial, dated April 18th, 2012, Judge Margaret Murphy. And so what I believe happened is that Marla Greenstein, the only investigator of judges, completely falsified an investigation into my travel judge. And then when we filed a complaint with the Bar Association, it made her look bad that every witness swore an affidavit that they had not been contacted. And I believe to cover up, to try to come up with one witness to the chauffeuring, she included Chuck Robinson. And as you can tell, even Chuck Robinson denies that ever happened. And Chuck Robinson remembers seeing the chauffeuring between Judge Murphy and Trooper Gibbons. And I believe this is why I was tased 10 times in court, so that the public does not know that the only investigator of judges in this state is going around falsifying investigations against corrupt judges, so corrupt judges can continue sitting on the bench. And I'll have everybody know I'll be tased another 1,000 times for this evidence to come out because of the harm to the people of Alaska if nothing's done. Thank you.